scars, see your dirty face. You always dry your tears at night. There's no one here you have to fear, but the fear still grows inside. It grows inside. Just keep up, soldier. It won't be easy to stand upright while you suffer all this pain. To stand upright and to face it all again. Whoa. And when they say you're nothing, try to resist them. You are not as vain as you think. Giving up is no solution. Don't you think it's time to move on? You gotta stand up when you're pushed down. Don't stay sitting down on the ground. And when you start to fall, forget your fear, 'cause you will have to rise above it. Then you're self-made.
Hello and welcome to the Nebula Racing League Race of Champions. My name is Justin, and joining me for commentary today, it is Miko.
Hey guys.
So we are going to be at this circuit in New Zealand, short circuit. We're going to be using a variety of cars as well. There's one of the cars on your screen right now, the KTM Crossbow. We'll also be using the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG, two very, very different cars. And as well, the Lancer Evo 10, as well, a very different car, all-wheel drive sort of rally car. And then just to make things even more crazy, we're going to throw in a Radical SR8 RX, which is very much a race car. Should be interesting. So we're going to start off with the quarterfinals, and then we'll go into the semifinals, and then the finals. So up first is D2G versus Ryox, and they're going to be in the Radical SR8. So there we go. That is Ryox on your screen right now. We only have one perspective for this first race in the quarterfinals. So that is Ryox with D2G in the blue and yellow Radical just ahead of him. So Ryox starting on the back foot, but he'll have 3 laps to try and make an overtake, although I'm not sure how easy overtaking is going to be, even in these Radicals.
Yeah, this is a really short circuit, so only a handful of corners, like 4 or 5 corners, as we're right now. I think we're in the last corner of the track,
Yep.
just crossing the start-finish line now. Going off to Jeff's corner, first corner of the track.
Yep, this is a shorter version of this circuit. So this Ruapuna. Oh, yeah, and good spot. D2G is actually off the circuit there, so that is going to put Ryox up into the lead of the race. Still some racing still to go, though, as they make their way through the dipper, as it dips down and then climbs up the hill and into the final corner we go to start yet another lap. And Ryox with a pretty comfortable lead as we cross the line. You have to say it's looking pretty good for him there. Looking very smooth and comfortable with the circuit as well. I can only imagine that he put in quite a bit of practice, as I'm sure most of the drivers did. And yeah, oh wow, but D2G is really coming back at him here.
Yeah, he's really closing in on Ryox. And going on the outside, no room out there, gets on the grass. Oh, and he spins.
Yep, I think he got on the power a little too early as he was on the grass there, and that sent him off. A bit of a squeeze from Ryox, but I think he kind of had track position on that one, so I'm not gonna make any sort of judgments on that one. But Ryox with an even bigger gap now. What was a pretty comfortable gap got closed down by D2G. They were side by side into the dipper, but now Ryox looking pretty comfortable to continue on into the semifinals as he makes his way through the dipper once again, and then through this kind of high-speed left-hander, more of a kink than a turn, really, and then into the final corner we go, and Ryox is going to cross the line. Man, the gap between them, I gotta say, at least 6 or 7 seconds, possibly even longer, but that is a pretty dominant win for Ryox there after the mistake from D2G. So we're going to go now into the second quarterfinal round with Brinziar and Leiter, and they're going to be driving in the Lancer Evo 10. Very different car from the Radical. Really not much in the way of aerodynamics on this car. It does have a rear wing and a front splitter, but it's very much a road car by comparison. Oh, and they're pretty much side by side into turn 1. However, it does look like Brinziar is going to take the lead. He's going to hold on to that lead for this opening lap.
Yeah, and the starting grid is arranged in a way that the first car, I believe, that has the inside line, I believe they're kind of stepped in a way that the one person doesn't get an unfair advantage into the first corner. So
yeah, or at least trying to minimize that unfair advantage that you might have from starting on pole. But very, very close. In fact, Brinziar is gonna defend the inside line heading into turn 1. Leiter doesn't even try to go around the outside or anything like that. Oh, but he's coming back at him at the corner exit. Oh, side by side. I think a little bump there. Brinziar's off the circuit.
Barely just coming into the dipper. Very much side by side. Very close battle here.
Into the kink they go. That's the very high-speed corner, and into the final corner. Brinziar running a little deep there. I think Leiter would have been able to get on the throttle a little bit sooner, so he might be able to carry a bit of extra speed onto the start-finish straight as they start yet another lap. And Brinziar getting very, very close, under braking into the first corner. And then they'll have the left-hander at Kukrum Nissan. Not Cockrum, Kukrum Nissan. And again, getting very, very close under braking. Oh, and there's been a tap as well. Yep, there's some contact there for Brinziar as he taps the back of Leiter's car. So I think he might be getting a little desperate here.
The Slovak getting a little bit faster, but he goes really wide into the last corner. Let's see if he gets a good exit, though. I think Leiter's gonna stick to the position for now.
Yep, actually, I think that is race over. Yes, that is race over. Sorry, yeah, that was the third lap. Apologies. Yep, so Leiter is gonna take that one over Brinziar in the Lancer Evo 10. Coming up next is gonna be Dami versus Dream. And they're going to be in the Radical SR8RX, just like D2G and Ryox. So this is the third quarterfinal round. And it looks like, Dami is going to have the inside line. Gosh, that's a very exciting start to that race. I think they were about half a second into the race and already making contact. I don't know if damage is on or anything like that, but Dami certainly leads here on lap number 1. So Dream's got some work to do. He's tucked right into the slipstream, though, of that green Radical ahead of him, and he also runs deep. It seems there's a variety of lines that these drivers are taking for that final corner.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's pretty much a 180 corner, so you can take a little bit of a V line into the corner.
Double apex it.
Yep. As a Dream that makes a pretty aggressive but clean overtake.
Oh, and he leaves the space, though. They're side by side coming out of the dipper. Dami is going to have the outside line, but no, in fact, they didn't even go side by side through that little kink, so he's going to try and go around the outside at the final corner here. It definitely looks like he's carrying more speed. He's going to have the outside line for turn number 1, though. Gets tucked into the slipstream and grabs that inside line as well, the side by side into turn number 1, but he's off in the grass, and I think that means Dream's going to take this one.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes coming for the drivers. I guess this track is quite punishing to those kinds of mistakes. Of course, not a lot of laps left as Domi still dips his wheels on the grass coming into the last corner.
Yep, and I think we've seen the majority of the mistakes in the Radical as well, so it could just be that the Radical is especially hard to drive at the circuit. But Dream is going to take that one pretty handedly, thanks to a couple of mistakes from Dami in the Radical SR8X as we head into the final quarterfinal round. The last quarterfinal round is going to be Remo versus Microlander, and that is going to be in the KTM Crossbow, actually, or Expo. There's a bit of a debate on how to pronounce that. I've heard different pronunciations on both of them. Remo's going to have the inside line. Microlander is going to have the better start, though. Can he go around the outside? Oh, just about. Yeah, they are still side by side. Very, very close. Oh, it's a bumping. And they're both off the circuit, actually.
Yeah, managing to keep on the momentum still, and very close still. Very side-by-side action here.
Side by side again into the final corner. Remo with the inside line, Mike with the outside line, but that means Microlander very likely to get the better exit. It's not a very long straight though. You can see these guys are certainly getting up to speed. The KTM Crossbow is no slouch of a car, and Microlander just shoots around the outside actually. Fantastic move from Microlander to take the lead of this race. Runs a little bit deep, just dipping those wheels into the dirt. At the exit of turn number 2, and then through the dipper they go. But it looks like a pretty comfortable lead for Microlander so far.
Yeah, he seems to be very confident with this car, carrying a lot of speed into the high-speed corners and braking really late and nailing those apexes. So he seems to be, so far, being the most dominant of these pairs. Let's see if Remo can reel him back.
Yep. I believe this is the final lap. Yeah, this is the third lap. So he doesn't have very much time remaining, does Remo. I'm going to keep my eye on him, though. He's gone a little bit deep. I think that was through turn 2, excuse me. Into the dipper they go. Remo's line not great. He went a little bit wide at the entrance to the dipper at kind of turn 3. And that put him off, and he had a very awkward line through the dipper, at least at the entrance of the dipper, as he gets a bit of a drift on through the final corner as well, and that means Microlander is very handily going to move through into the semifinals. So that is going to do it for the quarterfinals. We have 2 semifinal rounds now. It's going to be Ryox versus Lighter in the first round, and then it is going to be Dream versus Microlander in the second round. And we are going to be using the KTM Crossbow for this first semifinal race. Ryox on the left, Lighter on the right. Ryox with the inside line, Lighter with the slightly better start. Let's see if Lighter can do it around the outside at turn 1. We've seen it done in the KTM Crossbow before, and they are side by side. A bit of grinding between them. Lighter's gone very, very deep through the corner. Despite dipping wheels in the dirt, he's still around the outside. He's going to get the inside line now for the dipper, and he takes the lead. Wow, that was really nice driving from both of those drivers.
Yeah, you can really try and hang it around the outside because you get the inside line into the dipper, the second part of the dipper. So a lot of different lines used by different drivers here. Very impressive.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. The KTM Crossbow definitely seems to be putting up the best racing so far, as Ryox went a little deep into turn 1. He used a late apex, but it's a very short run down to the next corner, so really getting on the throttle early and getting a good exit speed, not so important, if I'm being honest. Lighter actually taking lots of curbing at the dipper at the inside of the corner there. As we come to the end of lap number 2, just one more lap remaining for these guys. Ryox still within striking distance. I wouldn't count him out just yet, but one lap remaining. It's going to be tough for him.
Yes, we're going across the start-finish line here. Let's see if, it looked like Ryox is taking a little bit of a wider line into the first corner, as Lighter seems to be hugging the apexes a little bit more, but a little bit wide at least for Lighter as well, and not much difference between these laps. The gap seems to be stabilizing a little bit here.
Yeah, these guys definitely seem similarly paced. It was just that dogfight on lap number 1 where Lighter came out on top, and unfortunately Ryox just was not able to close in the gap. So it does look like Lighter is going to be moving on to the finals, and now we will find out who he's going to be going up against as we do the second and final semifinal round. Dream versus Microlander in the Lancer Evo. Neither of those drivers drove the Lancer Evo in the opening round. So this is their first time in the car so far in this championship. Dream on the left, Microlander on the right in the black and red car. And it looks like Microlander... Wow, what a start from Microlander there. He just shot around the outside of turn 1, takes the early lead.
And a big drift just to show it off.
Oh, but he's gone deep into the entrance for the dipper. Dream coming at him with the inside line. It looks like a bit of contact between them. Unfortunately, Dream was not able to capitalize on that small mistake at the dipper from Microlander, but 2 laps remaining. He is still in this, and he gets a bit of a slide on himself, putting up some of that wheel smoke and or tire smoke, and I think that's going to actually cause him to lose out a little bit. He will pick up a slight slipstream, but really these cars aren't going all that fast into turn number 1, so if Dream's going to want to try and grab the lead of this race, I think he's going to have to do it in the corners rather than try and do it on the straights.
If you look at Microlander's lines, they're really smooth and just hugging the apexes again. Not really much understeer coming to the corners as Dream goes a little bit wide into the grass and he's sliding a lot more, I think.
Yeah, very aggressive
really,
into the final corner. Oh, wow, very, very deep. Really letting the car run out wide, possibly even too wide as we start the final lap of this race. But yeah, you're right. Microlander definitely seems to be a little bit more smooth. Of course, the pressure is on Dream here, really, not Microlander. So, I mean, it seems that Dream is doing everything he can to try and close that gap down. Just a few corners remaining in this final semi-final round. And really, really aggressive over the curbing there as we head into the dipper for the final time. Dream again getting out onto the dirt, but this is a rally car, so you'd expect the dirt doesn't hurt it too much. And into the final corner we go for the final time. The car is kicking up some backfire out of the exhaust, and it does look like Microlander is going to advance to the finals. And a great run from both of those drivers, though.
Yeah, that was pretty tight actually in the end.
Yeah, very close racing between those two guys, more or less very clean as well. So it is going to be Lighter going up against Microlander in the finals here, where they will be using the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG, first and only time we're going to be seeing this car in this championship. And that is Microlander. That's right. Microlander is the one with the white roof there. So he's starting from the outside. Lighter with the inside line. Wow, what a start from Lighter there. Really hugs that inside line and takes the lead pretty dominantly at the exit of the first corner.
Yeah, Microlander seems to be on top of things on all of these heats, but Lighter's gonna be. It's gonna be a. We haven't seen much passing in this.
No.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of action in the Mercedes, but even in the crossbows, we haven't seen. As Microlander goes very close to the wall, we haven't seen much side-by-side action after the first laps. So.
Oh, very, very deep for Mike. Oh, and he spun it. I thought he was going to get control of it, but unfortunately, Microlander with the big spin into turn number 1 here on the second lap runs a little bit wide as well. That's certainly not going to help him, but this is Lighter's race to lose at this point with that kind of gap. I mean, you can't even see him on the screen anymore, so certainly looking pretty good for the German.
Yeah, as I was saying, like this is not a usual race of champions where there's 2 different lanes, so the passing is going to be extra hard in this format.
Yep. You can't just put in the lap time. You have to actually go side by side. And there are dirt and grass runoff areas as well. You know, no paved runoff areas for these cars. And certainly the Crossbow and the Mercedes and the Radical, 3 of the 4 cars used in the championship today, all rear-wheel drive cars. The only one that isn't, of course, being that Lancer Evo 10. So no surprise that there's some issues with the cars getting oversteer when they run off the circuit, going for a spin, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, Lighter, unfortunately, or Microlander, excuse me, unfortunately not able to really close in on Lighter. So Lighter is the Nebula champion of champions. A huge congratulations to him. A dominant win after that mistake from Microlander. But that is going to do it for the video for the championship. Thank you so much for joining me, Miko.
Yeah, of course, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.